I can see that as fair. They really kind of zoomed through that.
Heal ring! You should save when you get an item.
No, I don't like saving inside the dungeon.
In case... Why?
In case he's trapped and can't get back out.
He has the heal
ring.
ring. He has the heal ring.
Oh.
Yeah, but I tried using it earlier and kept getting swarmed by villains. I mean, well, by enemies. So I'd keep fighting and my hit points were going down instead of up, despite me repeatedly stopping to use the heal ring.
That doesn't make sense.
It's because the fights were taking more hit points than I could heal before another enemy showed up.
What about Tom?
It really depends.
He's kind of a mobster, so maybe.
It depends on the narrative you write. Let's see. What do I have to contribute?
It does depend on the narrative you write, though. He is totally a mobster.
Char from the Gundam franchise was a pretty interesting guy. I mean, he was definitely a villain because... Yes, Jacob Crow.
Is he a good one?
No.
I mostly remember it being hilarious. I don't remember.
You don't remember, do you? He was just... He was...
He was Napoleon, but...
You remember something about the plot of Time Splitters?
Yeah.
I didn't know you even ever knew. I mean, he was... Napoleon, I don't follow.
His last word was Rosebud. He was literally quoting Napoleon. When you kill him.
Napoleon? Yeah.
Oh.
What does it do with Napoleon?
I thought...
I mean,
that
it was
whatever.
a reference, yes.
But yeah, regardless.
But yeah, his whole goal was basically...
World domination.
Well, it was immortality. He was basically on way to just achieve immortality, and so by
Did he, like... Wasn't the final boss fight against, like, several of him?
No, he Cronenberged himself. He turned himself... Yes, he turned himself into basically this horrible flesh monster. And, no, you don't fight against duplicates of him. You fight alongside duplicates of yourself, because time travel. And given that the main character is kind of a silly ham, it's kind of funny, actually.
Spaceman. Most of the characters in that are silly.
It's time to split! And I like how the game is just acknowledging,
every
like...
single person who hears him say it, like...
That's your catchphrase? Seriously?
That's what you say. That was it. That was the one.
That's
what you chose.
Now, 2 didn't have really a villain. 2's plot was completely incoherent.
I don't want to say this one loud enough for the stream because it'll be a spoiler. Showdown.
Okay. Ooh, the guy from BioShock. And, of course, the other guy. BioShock had good villainy.
That's why I can't wait for System Shock 1 to come out, the remake.
Because the one
where
that's
it's
the
actually
playable one?
Because I think Izzy would enjoy the System Shock series. And if we get through them, then we can also do BioShock. I mean, technically we
Let's
could
see,
anyway.
the Mario and Luigi series had Fawful, but he was too memey. And that's coming from me.
Would you do BioShock?
Me?
Shit.
It did not impress me nearly as much as everybody else.
Yeah, but you're not a story-driven guy.
I'm not.
I just didn't know if gameplay
And
was good.
Gameplay-wise, I felt it was unremarkable. I mean, I can get the good ending in it. I know that.
I feel Izzy.
And I hear BioShock 2 is just a big cash-in.
There are people who like BioShock.
But not yet. I'm sure it
The
does.
villains aren't the focal discussion. It's more just
Bloons Tower Defense.
It doesn't.
I
hate those balloons.
No, you're thinking Zero Wing, an old Genesis game.
Oh, cats.
He's asking, was his System Shock that had the all your base meme? No, that was Zero Wing.
Someone else who actually knows about all your base.
You know, Handsome
Who's
Jack
young enough,
was
old enough to remember all your base.
was a villain I could get invested in, at least. I hate him.
I was gonna say, he's really easy to very dislike.
I mean, again, for me,
Just because you're so attached to birds.
the Bloodwing, yeah, but no, the way he did it!
by relishing in it for a whole fight, making you beat him
Yeah,
up,
no,
and
at
then
the
just
very
killing him
end-
anyway.
Like, ending it just with a punchline. It just how irreverent he was about it.
Yeah, no, he's very easy to hate.
I would say that was his like moral event horizon, but then I realized he has so many of those.
I was gonna say, I don't know that.
I mean, I guess it might have been the Helena Pierce bit, even.
I can list a lot of them. Like,
I mean,
what about his own daughter?
Yes,
Keeping her
I'm
in
saying
prison where
like
she can't live her own life.
I'm saying like the earliest one though for me might have been the Helena Pierce thing because that's at the very beginning.
Oh well, I mean, technically.
I disagree, Dark. I disagree. People be saying, "Oh, well, he's had all sorts of bad stuff happen to him." That does not justify his actions.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because prior to that, you already have.
I say that nothing that happened to him could possibly justify. He has a lot of things he's done that can't be justified.
I'm just saying, even before the game's 2 starts, Tannis in the first game is a pretty good example.
But yeah, like Helena Pierce, Bloodwing, and another very spoilery character. Unjustified. It's that Bloodwing's the one
No,
that hit me.
I mean, Bloodwing's kind of also a spoiler.
Yeah, but it's not as much.
And I don't know, there's at least 2 characters, although one's not expressly his fault, it kind of is his fault.
He got betrayed, but that doesn't justify murder, among other things.
So far, the main villain of the Fantastic Beasts series has been very good. Like, very well performed, but again, they have a very good casting.
I just
director
found
for the
new
series.
armor. After buying armor.
I was wondering how this game would handle party members, and I understand now.
It doesn't.
Yes. Which is a perfectly good way to handle. Oh, hey, this guy. Ha. You just murder those trees here, Zelda Rock, or I guess they're beneath you now.
What other examples do you
Remember back earlier today when they were just giving you the worst time?
They were.
This game really does spoon feed you getting stronger. Broforce.
I'm not even level 10 yet.
Broforce. Yes. Tiny Tina confirmed for Borderlands 3. Has anything been confirmed for Borderlands 3?
They mentioned something about making it.
You know, this guy doesn't really have any really likable villains. It has some likable antagonists, but not villains, really, you know?
I don't even remember who the main villain was for the first.
It was, I mean,
Oh, yeah, I do. Okay.
it was...
that
It's
agent
the
with the
guy with all the
mustache.
facial expressions.
No, it was the Seraph.
No, he wasn't the villain.
Well, yeah, I guess that was Volcanus.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the Seraph, well... It didn't really have much of an overarching villain. It just had this guy who was a dick.
Yeah, but he is
The closest
technically a
thing.
lawful evil villain.
This guy at 2 has a villain, but I don't care much about him.
I was trying my best not to say his name for anyone who didn't
Oh.
see those.
4...
Because I mean,
didn't
it's
care
still
much.
fairly story driven.
5, don't care much.
Let's
Phantom Brave, definitely not there.
see. The main villain of the Hunger Games
That's...
is very.
I was about to say, Hunger Games isn't a video game! And I'm like, oh wait. That's not what we're talking about. Double Dragon Neon.
I know one. Rita Repulsa.
Yes.
I love her for how ridiculous she is.
Make my monster grow!
Oh, she was the perfect voice for Laharl, I must say. Such a ham.
I went to that village, not for the reason that not for what I did, but for a different reason, and then I left. Without having done what I was
Duck
there to
Game.
There's no villain in that.
Everyone is the villain.
Even yourself.
Freedom Planet was kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, Freedom Planet's villains,
not the highlight of the game.
How could I forget? Eggman. I love him as a villain. He's pretty simple, but...
It's very case by case. He has some
Starfelt! Lord Zed's got nothing on Rita. I'm sorry.
Although, they're both funny when they interact together.
I like the idea his name is Lord Zed. That makes me laugh.
Ivan Ooze was pretty enjoyable.
I don't remember much of it, but Lord Zed was kind of the serious one of the three, right?
He was so melodramatic, though, that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he was so serious in that world?
Because of how
I just remember him brainwashing all the adults into being silly.
Because of how well demonstrated it was, and how, like, you're not going to figure it out unless you're told. Zootopia has a good one.
Yes!
I would consider the villain...
They're not a villain in the conventional sense, certainly.
I would consider...
Silver Harmonica!
I would consider the villain of Zootopia better than the villain of Wreck-It Ralph. Shit.
So as a harmonica enthusiast, what do you think?
I like it.
Shin.
Didn't I just say the world? I might have. Sorry.
I
Tokyo
said-
Tomarema. Yes, I can agree.
Because I don't really consider the villain in Wreck-It Ralph.
The villain of Wreck-It Ralph was okay.
I consider the Wreck-It Ralph plot things to be driven more by the interpersonal interaction than by any
villain.
villains that are in those films.
I think Wreck-It Ralph, the first at least, did have a villain.
No, it has a villain, but even with the villain, there are things that make
Well, yeah, because
the interpersonal discussion...
it seems to be a running theme that Ralph tends to make problems for himself. That seems to be a running theme.
But,
He breaks things.
but the thing is, even when he's not accidentally making problems for himself, he one time does do something for a good reason.
And it goes bad.
Yeah.
It's bad, right.
And in that way, I would consider that a more significant plot point than what the villain is.
Well, yes, that Ralph is more he's more relevant as a troublemaker than the villain.
Yes.
Well, because he's the bad guy. He's a villain.
I know
in a
one
sense.
I have not mentioned yet. Flowey Fruit.
That's a good one.
That's a very good one. But
That game has good antagonists all around because it just has good characters.
Yeah. I will say aloud, without saying any of the information, Undertale has good villains throughout, except one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was gonna say, I know you don't like him, but I don't think he's a bad villain. Oh, him. Yeah, he's not.
And if you're talking about who I'm talking of, who I think you're talking about, I don't consider him a villain per se.
He's an
I
antagonist.
consider him more antagonistic comic relief.
Yeah, but you could say that about a lot of characters. But yeah, Zootopia, the premise seemed Bagyuba dead. Anytime I see that horrible scar upon the world, it breaks my heart.
Let's see.
She very much feels like an RPG character. She's the one you saved from the dungeon, right?
No.
Oh. He's trying to play his harmonica, but he doesn't have it. Are we talking about... Are you talking about my fave character from that sequel demo I watched recently?
I can't do it today.
I hope... Oh, I mean... No, because that isn't your favorite character. The sequel. The sequel's...
Now, the sequel's villain is not nearly as good as the first game's villain.
I mean, it has some interesting antagonism, but its villain is one of the least interesting characters in the series.
I mean, depending on who you're calling the villain.
Yeah.
There's multiple choices for the villain. Then. Because...
I never watched that, so I'll take your word for it, Starfell. Mojo Jojo.
JoJo!
What?
If we're talking about Powerpuff Girls, I find him to be a far more compelling villain than Mojo Jojo. I just find Mojo Jojo
him.
funny.
I was like, who are you? Wait, him? Who are you talking about? Oh, the character named